Interest rates on savings and fixed deposit accounts are dropping again at record speed and are once again below the inflation rate. For those who want higher interest rates now, Monefit Smart Saver with 7.25 to 10.5% interest per year might be interesting. I have invested more than 11,000 euros over 2 years, and today I will show you everything you need to know about Monefit in my test. And with that, welcome to Northern Finance. My name is Alex Black. Yes, we all face the big problem that the ECB is lowering interest rates again and very likely wants to continue moving towards zero interest rates in the future. The weak economy in Germany, as well as in many other parts of the EU, and the high national debts due to COVID and the rearmament, which are now being added, speak for this, as they cannot be paid off in the long term without low interest rates. So in the future, one can only expect little interest from a savings account or a fixed deposit account. Currently, we have the best offer with 3% at ING, but this is only valid for new customers and only for 4 months. After that, it's just 1% interest, which is practically nothing. Otherwise, we have rates around 2.5%, and at the popular Check24 bank, even only 1.5%. On average, that's about 2% or slightly less. And it's very likely that the offered interest rates will continue to fall in the future. If you believe the official data, we have an inflation rate of 2.4% in the EU and 2.3% in Germany. And in my opinion, these numbers are rather too low. Personally, in my view, I experience higher inflation, but that depends on each individual. After deducting inflation, you are already losing money on your savings and fixed deposit accounts according to the official figures. And this will only get worse in the future. An alternative where you can actually have something left in your pocket and your wealth can indeed grow instead of shrink is Monefit for Smart Saver. And that with a very simple product. Here you invest with just one click and receive 7.25% per year with the standard Smart Saver product. Here you can also indeed withdraw your money daily, which makes it so appealing to many. Alternatively, you can commit to Monefit for a longer period with the so-called vaults, as shown here, and receive up to 10.52% interest per year depending on the term, such as ING. I have been invested with 11,000 euros for more than 2 years now. Let's start from the beginning, discussing who is behind it, and then delve into the risks, advantages and disadvantages and more. And you can easily jump to the chapters using the video bar. Monefit is a subsidiary of the Europe-wide active Credit Star Group, around since 2006, and provides consumer loans in these countries, which we then finance. And according to the latest annual financial statement, the Credit Star Group made an annual profit of 10.6 million euros and continues to grow very strongly, also showing stable and increasing profits over the years, which is nice to see. The founder and CEO is Aro Sosa, and responsible for the subsidiary Monefit, where we can then invest, is Kashyap, briefly Kash Shah. Registration with Monefit takes just a few minutes. Literally. It is really designed to be very simple, as you can see, and easier than with many competitors. With the link below in the video description, you get an extra bonus that you don't get with the regular registration, and it was recently increased again. The product for the end customer works either by having a credit line where you can, such as in a flexible manner, have more or less credit without a fixed term. Or they have a regular loan, such as a typical loan with a fixed term. And as seen on the Credit Star UK website, as you can imagine, it can become rather expensive with 72% interest per year. But still, the demand is significantly high because you get the money very quickly and don't have to provide collateral or answer many questions, such as everything is done in the background within seconds and is really simple, literally. You might be wondering exactly who pays so much for a loan and for what purpose. Here, Credit Star itself says that they actually provide loans for any occasion. From car repairs, renovations, dentist visits, unexpected expenses, short-term loans, and much more as seen. Although loans for travel, weddings, and clothing are particularly extreme in my eyes. But people like to spend money on these things, and that simply comes at a price, and you can get that price. Many loans default in the process. That's why high interest rates are demanded. But these loan defaults are under control through numerous year-long analyses during the loan granting process and continue to decrease, which is nice to see. As shown in the Credit Star Group presentation on page 8, loan defaults are continuing to decline over a 5-year period. What really surprises me is that although the loan volume has almost tripled from 112 million to 324 million euros in these 5 years. So how secure is the whole thing? All lenders of the Credit Star Group are based in Europe, issue their consumer loans in these 8 countries in Europe, and are closely monitored by the local financial supervisory authorities. They are very strict in Europe, so it's really a good thing to have something solid, so to speak. However, Monefit is not regulated. Though there are audited financial statements of the parent company and the profitability is strong, there is no deposit insurance as a savings or fixed term deposit account. You should not expect that at all times. If Credit Star goes bankrupt, you can also lose money with your investment. In the terms of use, point 7.8 states the price can be lower than the Smart Saver price. So what is displayed to you? ING, so there is absolutely no guarantee for the return. But that does not have to worry you because, in fact, many competitors actually use the same or similar clauses in their terms of use to simply protect themselves. I also asked Cash these and other questions in our first interview, which I have linked for you in the video description below in case you're interested. After my recent visit to the Monefit office in Tallinn, I also recorded a new interview, which you can find in the info card and, as always, in the video description below. Personally, I always find it absolutely extremely fascinating to look behind the scenes on site and meet the people who keep the whole operation running. Overall, I consider the risk for my investment to be acceptable because there is simply such a large and experienced group behind it. Then I also have no problem investing more as the loans only come from Europe. It is regulated and you also have low and further declining default rates. Let's move on to my own experiences. As you can see, I am currently invested with 11,370 euros in Monefit, about 8,000 euros of which are in Smart Saver, where the money is available daily and earns 7.25% interest per year. Additionally, 3,242 euros are invested in the vaults with various terms as seen here, where the interest is only paid out to me at the end, except for the 24-month vault with 10.52% interest, which is paid out to me monthly, which is also interesting for passive income. As seen below, I have earned 735.84 euros in interest so far, and I made my first investment almost exactly 2 years ago. Back then it was 1,000 euros, and if I could turn back time a little today, I would very likely invest more money because it has worked out so well. The product simply works excellently, and there are correspondingly good reviews on Trustpilot and similar platforms, available when you take a look at the whole thing. Last month I earned about 1.18 euros per day, plus on top of that what accumulates in the vaults. This is not displayed, and then only the interest from the 24-month vault is directly paid out to me, which, as seen above, is always paid on the first of the month. Let's move on to the advantages and disadvantages and then to the conclusion, and we'll just simply start with the disadvantages. It should not be forgotten that the parent company Credit Star Group had repayment issues on Mintos at the end of 2022. Everything was repaid to investors after a 6-month problem phase, so to speak, plus penalty interest. Everyone got their money back, but understandably this unsettled investors. This also highlights the risk, which is simply higher than with bank alternatives such as savings accounts, fixed-term deposit accounts, and other bank deposits. However, it is also true that since these problems occurred, there have never been any more issues, and all investors have always been paid on time while the product has grown significantly. Also, Monefit is not regulated and does not seem to have the intention to become regulated even after 2 years. However, the lenders of Credit Star are all regulated in their respective countries, as can be seen. And in Europe, they are subject to strict supervision. Furthermore, there is naturally no deposit insurance as you take on a higher risk and essentially step into the role of the bank yourself. As a penultimate point, it must be said that you are naturally dependent on Credit Star. The company can invest the money at its own discretion, and you cannot invest only in loans from a specific region that might be particularly profitable or according to your own criteria. You are dependent on the success of Credit Star and their 336 million euro portfolio. But the group is growing well and is nicely profitable. Finally, the payouts need to happen faster. Currently, it takes 10 business days to receive your money. But by their statement, they are working on it. Discuss the advantages. There is a solid interest rate of 7.25 to 10.5%, which is 3 to 4 or even 5 times as much as your savings or fixed deposit account. This is quite rather low to medium in the P2P sector. But for that, the product is also very simply designed. With one click, you're invested and start earning interest without having to do anything. Many people like simplicity. Secondly, you can withdraw the money at any time. And thirdly, the platform is easy easy to use. It is clearly structured and focuses only on the essentials. This is an investment requiring no further action, and many people like that. Monefit also regularly hosts webinars where you can really dive deep into the data, ing. There were over 50 pages that delved into the business and showed the latest developments, numbers, data, and facts. And in my opinion, there could definitely be more of these. Like on page 25, you can see more than 16,000 investors were already registered then. Today, there are significantly more, with an average investment of 6,100 euros, which are very good figures after the first 2 years and demonstrate that the offering is attractive to many investors. The parent company Credit Star Group, with over 10 million euros in profit and a total balance of 336 million euros, is one of the largest lenders across Europe. And there is more security than with small companies. As can also be seen, the loan portfolio has been continuously growing since its inception in 2006, and it is active in 8 European countries, while at the same time the default rates continue to decrease. Lastly, there is also the option to withdraw your money at any time or to commit it for a longer period if you wish, even with a specific desired date. If you need the money again, for example, for a vacation or a new car, and you already know the date, let's conclude from this. Monefit attractive with stable interest rates 7.25% to 10.5%. The lower the key interest rates in Europe become again. Since the key interest rates are likely to keep falling, an investment in Monefit can be a good diversification in the future, especially when you will lose money after inflation with daily and fixed term deposits. If the daily deposit pays 2%, but inflation is at 2.4% and you also have to give up 0.5% of the return in the form of taxes, then you are guaranteed to lose 0.9% of purchasing power per year. And for many, it's simply no longer an attractive proposition to invest their money this way, so they tend to take on a bit more risk with a part of their portfolio. So if you want more and not only want to secure the interest at Monefit, but also an extra bonus that you don't get with the normal registration, then click the link below in the video description. This way you also support our project at no extra cost to you and get an extra bonus. I will soon expand my portfolio at Monefit a bit more, aiming for 15,000 euros as an interim goal. I also want to invest a bit more in the vaults with fixed terms and slightly higher interest rates, as I've found that I don't actually need the money as much as I thought. Then I'll commit a bit longer. I am satisfied and curious to see how it continues. What is opinion on Monefit? Let me know in the comments below. I look forward to the exchange, wish you a safe return, and until next time.